So pretty much the moment that Pfizer's COVID booster became available, the CDC, which has done a lot of promotion of Pfizer recently, recommended it officially. CDC said the shot was safe and effective, just like they told us the vaccine stops the transmission of COVID. But now, months later, now that a lot of people who raise questions have been banished from public conversation as science deniers, the CDC is admitting that actually the shot could be dangerous. The CDC's real-time data monitoring system has found a potential link between Pfizer's new bivalent COVID booster and strokes in people over the age of 65. We wanted to speak to the most responsible possible source on this story. Marty Makary is that. He's a professor at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine, and he joins us to assess this news. Doctor, thanks a lot for coming on. So let's turn it over to you. What do you make of this?
Well, we know that out of 550,000 Medicare beneficiaries, 130 of them had a stroke within 3 weeks of the new bivalent vaccine. Now, this is the vaccine where it was authorized without any randomized controlled trial. Now, there was clearly a statistically significant signal over the baseline rate of stroke, or else we would have never been hearing about this for sure. And when there is a statistically significant increase, that triggers a deeper dive. Now, the CDC has tried to quickly downplay it and said, oh, well, we checked it out in other databases like the Medicare database, which is a database of billing codes. It's not designed to look at actual clinical events. So it's not fair to say that we looked at another imprecise database and didn't see it there. And it's not that far of a stretch. If you remember, in September, we had a big study come out that showed that the incidence of complications, severe adverse events, not just lying in bed, was 1 in 800, and the German study said it was 1 in 5,000. Now, I'm not saying pull the vaccine from the market, but we've pulled vaccines for frequencies of adverse events far less common than we're seeing with the COVID vaccine. Rotavirus was pulled for a complication rate of 1 in 10,000, and the swine flu vaccine was pulled for a complication rate of 1 in 100,000. So there's clearly something there. The FDA's own analysis that somebody there co-authored with other researchers found that there was a clear incidence of pulmonary embolism 50% higher than baseline from the COVID vaccine. It's not a big stretch. Now, the FDA, which is supposed to be our top regulatory agency, said, don't release this data to the public because it'll hurt public trust. The way to increase public trust is to be totally honest and transparent and show us the underlying data set. Instead, the CDC has said, look, we ran other statistical tests, and in the other statistical tests, we didn't see the complication play out. But you don't just run statistical test after test until one of them shows that the signal goes away. You actually run the proper statistical test, which is why the underlying data set should be public information.
Well, of course. And I just don't understand how the U.S. government could recommend a medicine that hadn't been subject to a randomized double-blind trial. That's just absolutely crazy to me. But I appreciate you bringing us that news. Dr. Marty Makary of Johns Hopkins, thank you.
Thanks.